Hi everybody, and welcome to I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to a new cruise news for today, Monday, the 31st of January, 2022, the last day of the month, and as we head into February. Now we've got two cruise news stories for you today, which are kind of a little bit bizarre, but and a little bit strange and different, let's say. Now, the first one is about Crystal Cruises. Now, if you've watched some of my previous cruise news videos, you'll know that Crystal Cruises has gone into like administration from running out of money essentially, or almost running out of money. All of their river cruises have ceased operation, and they're actually, also with COVID going on, and they've got three passenger ships which were sailing. Now, essentially, the second one is what we're going to talk about, the Crystal Serenity. They have one down in Antarctica still underway, which is obviously on a longer cruise. It can't sort of pull in and let guests off, so it's heading back to Ushuaia on about the 5th of February, still a few more days from now. But their second ship was meant to dock in Aruba. Now, the Crystal Serenity was on a world cruise, 115-day grand voyage. And essentially it started on the 17th of January. And within a few days of the cruise starting, they announced that the ship was going to shut down and it was going to disembark the guests in Aruba. And that was basically essentially yesterday or the day before, depending on when you're watching this. The ship's captain basically got notification that Aruba was going to refuse the ship entry and not allow the guests to disembark. The cruise line was planning to let everybody off the ship in Aruba, find them either accommodation or flights home back to the US or wherever they're from, and obviously, shorten their cruise. But what's happened was, so there was 380 guests on board. So the captain basically pleaded with the local authorities. One thing that sort of is a little bit not understood is the fact that maybe Aruba didn't want the ship to dock, knowing they wouldn't be able to pay any fees or docking fees for the ship to arrive and depart. But according to Crystal, everything was prepaid, pre-organized, and it wasn't going to affect any payments necessary to the port authorities. So after the captain pleaded for, even on humanitarian grounds, to let the guests off, they insisted that the ship can't dock in Aruba. So it's actually heading to Bimini, which is where the other Crystal ship, Crystal Harmony, is currently there. So effectively today in the evening time, the 31st, the ship's going to arrive in Bimini, and then the guests are going to take a ferry back over to the mainland, and then either go into accommodation for the night and fly home the next day, or be transported to Miami or wherever it's necessary for them to fly home from there. So kind of crazy story. So the whole reason why they couldn't go back to Florida and disembark the guests is there's essentially an arrest warrant out for the ship because of unpaid fuel bills. So by going to the Bahamas, they're kind of avoiding that. The ships are registered in the Bahamas as well, so essentially it's a safe port for them, and the US authorities can't do anything, even though it's only a few hundred miles away, probably even less. So yeah, the Crystal Cruises saga continues. It's it's going to end eventually. We do hope another cruise line buys them out, takes them over, continues on with the history of the brand, but who knows? So yeah. Now the second story is kind of even more crazier when you think about it. Now, if you may know, in Florida, there's a few different cruise ports, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and kind of the other one that's becoming more and more popular to sail out is Port Canaveral, which is actually very close to Cape Canaveral, where NASA and SpaceX have their facilities. And cruise ships obviously sail in and out of there. There's a schedule that they've got to follow. But essentially, yesterday, depending on, again, when you're watching this, SpaceX was forced to abort a shuttle launch within 30 seconds of takeoff, because a cruise ship or a ship was in a hazard area, is the words they've used. A cruise ship was in the hazard area. So obviously, if you're maybe see a map of Florida, you'll know that Cape Canaveral is very close to the eastern coastline of the United States, and also very close to the cruise terminal. So essentially, the area that's where the ships pull out of from there is their safety zone, or I don't know how you would word it. Basically, their fail-safe area, but they're calling it a hazard area. So now what's really not known is which ship was involved in this situation, which has caused SpaceX to cancel their launch. Now, the last couple of days, they've actually had to reschedule the launches due to weather. Florida's had some sort of very cold weather in the last week, different sort of conditions. They've got to have obviously really perfect conditions for takeoff, for the trajectory of the shuttle, or the rocket, I guess they call it. So yeah, at the time there was 2 ships in the area, which I've sort of managed to source from Cruise Mapper. Was Harmony of the Seas for Royal Caribbean, and MSC's Cruise Meraviglia. So I'm going to put a little bit of a map up. You'll see that as we're talking here, and you'll actually see 2 ships that were on the Cruise Mapper site that were possibly in the area and sailing. So it was actually the 4th delay of the mission launch, which I'm sure between NASA and SpaceX, they're not happy at all, because there is a lot riding on these schedules to happen, right? And the costs involved and the amount of people that are involved in it. So yeah, they're not mentioning which ship, but obviously if you just sort of look at the maps and put 2 and 2 together, between Royal and MSC, something went wrong. It's basically reported also that the cruise lines are aware of the rocket launches, and I would assume NASA and SpaceX are aware of the ship's itinerary, so they do their best to sort of not have a clash of areas. So yeah, a bit longer cruise news. I'm trying to get them shorter. I'm not very good at these bulletin style ones. I hope you like this cruise news, some interesting stories. And again, you can watch another video right here. That should have already come up on the screen. And thanks for watching I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, post a comment. And if you're not a subscriber, click subscribe. And again, if you're a previous watcher, thanks everybody for all the support of the channel. We've now passed 9,000 subscribers. My short-term goal is to get to 10,000. So let's get there together, shall we? And I'll see you in another video. Bye, everybody.